Scarves and Spikes for a. I'm sorry, that was very loud.
Oh,
I didn't need to.
Roll with it. I like it.
Sydney Hunt, Tyler Pilgrim, Tommy Moose with you on a Wednesday night. Atlanta United play LAFC. A few other matches. I believe U.S. Open Cup is going on. Canadian Championship is going on north of the border between Vancouver and Montreal. Other than that, guys, nothing going on today.
Not at all.
Pretty
We're all together, though.
Somebody.
Yeah, we're all together.
Match that
been a while.
Failed to finish. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, St. Louis City, FC Dallas, are playing 40 minutes of soccer. Again, that's it. Can you guys think of anything else going on?
What dimension are we living in right now?
It's weird.
It's so weird.
I know. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, but
what are we talking about? I'm confused now.
It's just,
come on.
There's nothing else going on in the world, and everything
Absolutely
is so
nothing
strange.
else. I know. Just another Wednesday afternoon.
I put pants on today. That was something.
Good. I'm glad you did.
I cleaned up the house because it was messy.
It was. Yeah.
Did you?
My house was messy.
A little filthy around here. Had to get things unmessified.
Messified.
God,
Just say it already.
Fake or get it.
The bit is over.
Lionel Messi is coming to MLS.
Who's that guy?
He is the second best Argentine behind Thiago Almada.
I thought you were going to say the second best player in world football right now. And that was just going to set off just alarm bells all over the chat. But yeah, obviously that's the big news in the soccer world. Lionel Messi, not official yet. I mean, the contract has not been signed, and I feel like MLS went out of their way to say, okay, this isn't officially done yet, but Lionel Messi is coming to MLS. He announced his intentions today to go to Inter Miami, and yeah, really, really significant moment for MLS, guys. And let's talk about that first off. We'll get to LAFC and Atlanta a little bit later on, but I feel like maybe we can just start on that for right at the top.
Remember where you were today. And it's kind of funny, right? Because there's so many moments over the past years where it's like, I remember where I was at when this bad thing happened in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all over the news. And then you have something that's so big and it's just good news. It's happy news. And it felt kind of the same in terms of like everybody's talking about this and it's happening and we're here. Like Messi is coming to MLS. And now you get to say, hey, I found out about this from a million different Twitter accounts, probably. CBS, Sports Galazza talking about it a lot this morning. Anyway, you'll know where you were at when it was announced that Messi was coming to MLS, and that's a really cool thing to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Miami is the center of the sports universe. You've got the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. You got the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals, and they get Messi.
You mentioned the
crazy.
You mentioned the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers barely in the finals. They're like down 0-2. I mean, they're going to be.
They're there though. Like Miami's just like
they're there.
that whole area is just a big party right now. Like they've just had nonstop good sports news going on, and this is just going to make it even more exciting, I think.
And people said the Heat were going to get swept by the Nuggets. That's obviously not going to happen now. So, yeah. Good vibes, except for the Panthers, who are like getting slaughtered by Vegas, the Stanley Cup Finals. But anyway, Tyler, you said it. Just kind of one of those remember where you were kind of days for MLS. I feel like it's bigger than David Beckham. I barely remember. I mean, I don't want to say barely remember. I wasn't following the sport really that closely in 2007 when Beckham came over to MLS, but I knew enough about soccer to know who David Beckham was and what he meant to the global football world. So when he came over to MLS, I knew that's a big deal, especially in LA where like he's right there in the center of the entertainment world, and I mean it was a perfect fit for him. He's just kind of that guy. Messi much grander scale. I saw someone say on Twitter, I forget who, Messi in some circles is considered a god.
Yes.
You saw
And that's not a
videos.
joke. Like, that's not
No,
a joke.
no, you saw videos of him in Argentina. Yeah, trying to get dinner, and just the outside of the restaurant was just crowded and full of people. It was just incredible just to see the reception he got. Of course, the Argentine football team as a whole got after the World Cup, but Messi just that much more, and a different stratosphere. And now the eyes of and this is not just overblowing it. The eyes of the football world are on MLS right now, just to see how Lionel Messi is going to fare in MLS and with Inter Miami. And I feel like it's a rising tide kind of situation, because this benefits, I feel, not just Inter Miami, but benefits MLS as a whole, especially with the deal with Apple and MLS Season Pass. This is so much more attention is going to be paid to this league. And now the onus is on MLS to grow the product outside of Messi, because once he's retired, some of those eyeballs are going to go off the league again. So MLS has to do a better job than it did with Beckham. I saw someone tweet this out earlier, with nurturing the fan base that comes in with Lionel Messi, because it's going to be a lot. And with 2026 coming around the corner, MLS really, really needs to capitalize on this moment. And yeah, having Messi helps, so he's not going to be around forever. So what's going to happen to MLS after Messi, I think, needs to be the discussion as well.
Yeah, it's a golden opportunity for the league as a whole, for soccer in this country as a whole, not just MLS, but soccer as a whole from the bottom up. And you have the World Cup coming in 2026. If there was a better time in United States soccer than this, I can't think of it. Like, Messi coming here is huge. And yeah, people are going to always compare it to Beckham. Beckham was huge for when it happened. This is far beyond that. And kudos to Beckham for being a part of both, by the way. Like, him bringing Messi here and kind of orchestrating things and at least being a part of making it happen. The league has already shown that they're going to bend rules a little bit, as they should, to essentially invest in invest in the league by doing this. So it's not a bad thing in terms of like how they're essentially making a Messi rule to do this. I think now the issue is, do they take the momentum and capitalize on it? Because you have all the momentum in the world now. Like you said, Sydney, he may not be here that long, relatively long, a couple of seasons, maybe 3, who knows? But you get yourself to the World Cup, and then all eyes are on you anyway. You have Messi, you have this deal that people in any country, 107 countries anyway, something like that, can pay for. They can watch it anywhere in the world. And you've set yourself up really pretty for the next quite a few years. And now you just got to take advantage of it.
Is there any Messi rule? Like, is that because they had a DP spot open, correct?
No,
I would assume.
they don't.
I thought they did.
No, they have Campana. I think Campana, Pizarro, and Gregor, I believe, are there 3.
Yeah, I feel
I'm
like
pretty sure
Joseph
they have
is one
2.
too.
No, he's a TAM guy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can look it up.
They will.
Yeah, look it up, because I saw some people saying that that they've been basically their season's been tanking because they have the spot. So I don't think that's that, but like you talk about this contract, we don't know exactly what he's making, but Apple's involved now. So basically the contract says that any subscribers that start coming in, basically from my understanding is now forward, he's going to get a piece of it, which is crazy, right? Yep. Because again, the Apple MLS package isn't just for the United States, it's across the entire world. So that's going to be something. He's going to make money from there. Adidas, he already signed like a lifetime contract with Adidas, but he's going to be making even more money with, I think they've offered him incentives for how he grows the sport in the United States.
And
So he's
and
making
it's,
even more money with that.
I think Felipe mentioned, and the guys over at the Athletic, I think it was coming from them, that any Inter Miami kit sales, any of them, a portion of that's going to go to him.
Yeah.
Even the Breck Shea ones?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure.
Well, Breck's
Either
retired,
or,
so.
You can get it.
Real quick. So Inter Miami currently their DPs, senior DPs, Joseph Martinez, Rodolfo Pizarro, and Gregory, as you guys mentioned, and then Campana is on a young DP deal. I saw someone say in the chat, Bruno saying in the chat, they could buy Gregory down. Yeah, they could buy any of those players out because remember, this deal is not official yet. I imagine it'll take place during this transfer window when all the I's will be done and T's will be crossed. So Miami has some time to get their house in order from a roster standpoint. And I know even saying that this is Miami and they've been in a little hot water in the past with their roster situation. Anyway, you would hope that they could get this deal done. I mean, it sounds like they are, but you hope that there's no sort of backwater, under the table dealings going on to get Lionel Messi here, because what's the point of it if you have to break the rules? But yeah, I think we were just talking earlier, how does this change the roster building mechanisms in MLS? Because obviously you have the 3DP rule, which came on board because of David Beckham. So MLS kind of had to create this new rule saying, okay, you can bring in these big players and they won't count toward the salary cap except for X amount of money. Interested to see what happens. What is that Messi rule? I mean, we kind of talked about that Messi rule, but what does that Messi rule end up being? Do we see more players, big-time players coming over and getting cuts of the jersey sales and getting cuts of season pass subscriptions like Messi's getting right now, reportedly? I'll be interested to see what that looks like, especially with MLS really trying to get on equal footing with Liga MX. We saw with the Champions League final, Lyon essentially outplaying LAFC. So what does MLS do to get themselves on equal footing, especially with Leagues Cup here and, again, trying to get on par with them with Champions League?
So you look at that. I'm not really concerned about Messi because he's going to likely be that DP and he's getting a bunch of money in other places. But there's talks now that his friends are coming along, right? It's Messi and friends. And Messi and friends, how do you afford that in the cap? And that's where I'm going to be the most interested, because, okay, you get a DP spot, you bring this guy in, great. You've got other DPs, though. So what is the rest of their cap space look? And how is that money going to start coming in? If they start signing players left and right that are big name players across the pond, we're going to start questioning things. And that's what I care about here, is to see, because there's already rumors going out there, right, of other him bringing players here.
Yep.
They're not going to be coming in to make, $100,000. Right. They're going to be coming in for money. So that's what I want to see. That's where I'm concerned at, because if whatever you bring in the biggest names on a DP, that's what you do, great. But how are you going to cater to him? And if he wants all these guys here and they say, no, we can't because of the cap, that's fine. But if he starts bringing people in and it starts getting questionable, then I just want it to be fair across the board. And that's all I've really wanted with this here, because I don't think there is going to be a Messi rule. If he's just a DP, then it's really not a thing. It's just what happens after this with the cap.
Let me ask you guys this, though. What if Messi isn't a DP? What if the money that he makes from jersey sales and season pass sales kind of makes up that roster, or makes up that salary number for him, so Miami don't need to spend a DP slot on him? Just theoretically speaking, what if there's like a minimum cut that Apple and MLS are set to give him? I'm going
to burn the world down. I'm going to burn the world down if he's not a DP.
I mean,
you've angered me. You've ruined this good moment, and I knew something was going to set me off. I'm turning red now. You've angered me so much. I just say, if That's not it.
You're blending in with your shirt, Tommy.
Yeah, exactly.
No, so here's what my 2 cents on that. If that happens, it's horse crap unless the league allows other teams to do something similar. Now,
maybe that's a Messi rule. I don't know.
I mean, maybe, but like I do think that like because I'm pulling it up now because I think it was the Athletic that mentioned earlier that from them, other teams, all the teams in MLS did in some way financially contribute to this. Now, I don't know what that means because you got to understand MLS is essentially a franchise system. It's different than other leagues in the world. At the end of the day, what MLS says goes. So if you're looking at like Atlanta United and every other team paying part of his salary, I think that's crap. Now, if it's just a matter of, well, we're not going to get all the money from all of these Apple subscriptions and everything else, and a little bit of that's going to go towards Messi, I think it's maybe 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but I think it's a little easier to swallow than just saying, well, yeah, Atlanta United and every team he's going to play against is going to pay for his salary because that's crap. We had a part of an episode earlier in the year about it when that first came out, and that's crap. I think that it's absolute garbage. You have to be able to give the other team something to allow them to bite this bullet, essentially. So whatever that may be, but tomorrow, Don Garber should come out and say, 4th DP, at least, or salary cap bumped up, at least. There's no reason not to. You just brought in the best player in the world, the GOAT, to the league, biggest athlete in the world, bar none. Bar none. Like, we can talk about Ronaldo, but Ronaldo's playing over in Saudi Arabia right now, and you can barely watch him. Messi is coming to MLS. He just won the World Cup. There is no reason that MLS can't say, we're gonna make the roster rules a little less stringent. Here's what we offer: another DP, salary cap bumped up, however many millions of dollars, whatever. You got to do something though. You can't just give it all to Miami. That's crap.
Yeah, no, I get that.
He turned down 1.2 billion. That's the rumor, right?
Something
Saudi?
billion, yeah, something like that.
That's
ridiculous.
I mean, I went to Miami. I've liked Miami. I saw the Fast and Furious movies in Miami. I saw the scenes where, the beach looks nice. Everything on the beach looks nice. But you turned down 1.2 billion. Wow. It's been a crazy. You talk about the whole PGA thing that went down, and yesterday, and then you see Messi turn that money down, the Saudi money down, and to come play here. It's crazy. And and there's so much to talk about with this entire situation. You've got, like we said, his friends, and then there's rumors of Tata Martino.
Yep.
I mean, there's talk that he's about to become, the manager of Miami. Like, that's crazy. And, it's getting brought up in the chat about like how these ticket prices are going. And when I looked at this game like a while ago, when I was planning my fall trip into town, I was looking and I go, all right, I'm going to come see Joseph Martinez play. I think that's going to be a fun game.
Woo, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, and thinking, okay, I'm just seeing Joseph. Now I'm going to see Tata. Now I'm going to see Messi. And I see in the chat, will he play on turf? I don't think he's the guy that's not going to play on turf, especially like as far as how they're going to market this guy. I definitely think that he's going to be playing. If he doesn't, it's crap. But I put on Twitter, yesterday when I heard these rumors, I was like, I should probably look at tickets now before they get crazy. 2 supporters section tickets, with Ticketmaster fees, $100. Now they're going for $335 each. That's insane.
How long ago did you check that? Because I thought they were higher than that now.
About an hour ago.
Okay. See,
that's each. Yeah, I mean for each in the supporter section right now.
Now I think it's interesting too because this happened. This essentially, I mean, the rumors have been around, right? Like we've known that this was a potential thing for a while. I actually thought it was going to be Barcelona And by the way, Barcelona's statement that they put out is absolute crap. What a bunch of oh man, I've never been so close to just going on a cussing tirade on this show with some of the anyway, Barcelona's statement was BS. So disingenuous. But besides that, I thought he was going to Barcelona. I thought that's because he wants to go back. He even said today that's where he wants to be. And you don't blame him. You understand it. But they couldn't make it happen. I get it. But this happened all today, essentially. All the official stuff. I mean, it started bubbling up this morning from significant accounts. And then, of course, Fabrizio Romano gets on it. And it's like, okay, well, we're pretty close. And then he comes out and says, I'm going to Miami. So that all happened within the past 12 hours. Less than that, actually. It now costs more to go to an Inter-Miami game than it does to go to the NBA final games.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Which is wild.
That's
So
funny.
the money's there. The money's going to be coming into this league. Now, MLS, you have to go and reinvest it. You have to allow your other teams to do things. And you have to push it. It's as simple as that.
So with Inter Miami in last place right now, and having lost their last 5 matches, what is a? I mean, we have to talk about it. What's a realistic finish for Inter Miami in the Eastern Conference standings with Lionel Messi? I can't believe I'm saying that.
Dude, this is that dimension I was talking about.
Unbelievable.
So weird.
Well, as you guys know, I like to gamble on occasion. And last night, after I bought my 2 MLS tickets,
A little bit.
I looked, and Miami was like plus 15,000 to win MLS Cup. I said, all right, betting $10 would win me 1,500 if they won. I put $10 on it last night. They're already offering me $30. If you know how gambling works, as it continues to go, as it looks better for the win on your side, they're going to offer you more money to cash out. There's been no games played, none, and they're already offering $20 more, just because he's made it there. So that's crazy. Like, they make the playoffs, I'm good.
Yeah.
They'll offer me a nice thing, but it's just crazy how that just changes the entire world and flips it upside down. But they have to make the playoffs, absolutely.
Where you make the playoffs, and then you have Messi. You have the best big game player in the world. The playoffs are totally different. You as long as you get there, and it's not hard to get there, you're setting yourself up for a really, really good run. And I don't think it's out of the question to think that if they make it to the playoffs, that's the hard part for them right now, just because they're at the bottom. I mean, they still have to make it. It's not a stretch. It's also not the playoffs that MLS has had in the past. You can get there, even where they're at now. But you can, if you can get there, Messi and whoever else he might bring along, Tata Martino, Sergio Busquets was another big one that's kind of popping up today. Like, you might make a run all the way to the cup, and it's gonna blow people's mind, I think, how far they go in the playoffs. Now, how they finish in the Eastern Conference, I don't know. I think their goal right now is just get to the playoffs. I don't think they care about anything else besides getting to the playoffs and giving Messi a chance to cook in the playoffs.
They're 6 points out of a playoff spot right now. So 6 behind Charlotte for 9th place and 8 behind DC United for 7th, which will take him out of the play-in essentially into the first round. So, yeah, all bets are off, I think, for Inter Miami. I mean, it can't be any worse for them as it is right now. And it's a matter of how can Messi elevate the play of his teammates? Even if a player like Busquets comes over, you still have other players on that roster, Campana, Kamal Miller, Yedlin, Uchoa, guys like that. Can he elevate the style of those players, and can he prove to be the presence in the locker room that they need him to be? I think he will. I mean, it's Lionel Messi, for crying out loud. I mean, he doesn't need any motivation, but can he rally the players behind him and really put them on his back. Yeah, I think he will. Obviously, I mean, like he said, Tommy, he's used, or Tyler, he's used to the spotlight. He's just won a World Cup, so yeah, it doesn't get any bigger than that. I mean, MLS Cup is like mini golf in that regard. But yeah, get really interested to see what happens. Yeah,
I love mini golf.
You know what I mean.
Call it putt putt. Call it what it really is. Like it's
putt putt. Miniature golf.
Thank you.
It's bring it back to Atlanta. Do you think there's a chance that Almada stays a little bit longer? I know it's probably unlikely, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, cause I think some of our chat is looking for us to bring this back to Atlanta. But like,
yeah,
could this be a reason for Almada maybe to stay till the end of the year?
So I'll throw this out there because that actually got brought up on the Spaces today. We had the Twitter Spaces earlier, and I personally think if Almada were to go to Messi right now and say, "Hey, man, you know you're here, biggest player in the world. Like, what would you recommend?" Messi would tell him, "Go to Europe, go play in the Champions League." That's not going to change. It's not like he's coming to Atlanta where Almada could directly learn under him. They're going to play twice a year, maybe 3 times a year, whatever, depending on like how the playoffs go and all that. I think, if anything, maybe you get until the end of the season out of Almada for this reason only, because you have a chance to play a real life, legitimate, not a friendly, competitive match against the best player in the world who has given you praise yet twice. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the Leagues Cup, but in front of your home fans at least once going forward in the window or past the window. Now, is that worth it to stay? I think if you bet on yourself, which Almada absolutely should, and say, all right, at the end of the season, the offers are still going to be there and they're probably going to be better than they are right now, potentially. And I get to go and have that exposure of being the only 2 World Cup winners in MLS right now, both from obviously the same country, to play against each other. Like that's a storyline. That's a big deal. And it could potentially boost up Almada's side even more, especially if he does well in that game. Like that would be huge. And so if you're Almada, you're betting on yourself. Now, I personally think Almada staying until the end of the season anyway. I don't think he's gone in the summer, but I don't think you get him past that no matter what.
Yeah, and I wasn't thinking like he'd be here beyond this year, but I mean, I think a lot of people think that the summer window is the time for him to go. So many leagues open up. It's good business. Teams are going to want to pay. Teams pay a lot in the summer. Someone's going to hop in and try to get him now. So, but maybe he wants to stay a little bit longer to be able to play against his idol.
A lot of questions about what Messi's first match would be, and I've kind of seen different things. July 21st against Cruz Azul in the Leagues Cup, or 4 days later against Atlanta United on July 25th. So imagine that. Yeah. But yeah, for sure, certainly we know September the 16th, Atlanta United versus Inter Miami. And as you already saw, the upper level has been open for that match, so that'll be a 70,000+ match. So
did you see how much the tickets are?
$125.
$125 for the nosebleeds. That is more than a Falcons game.
Yep.
That is insane. I've never paid that much to sit up that high at a Falcons game. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like what we've seen today is so unprecedented in this league. Like and really in this country. I mean, because we can talk about big athletes over the years, right? Because there's plenty of them in the United States. But you don't have anything on Messi at all, because this is a worldwide game. We can talk about like Michael Jordan, the Bulls, and everything he did. Huge athlete, and got nothing on Messi in terms of what he can make happen. You are going to have people that are going to come and watch soccer now that didn't watch MLS before just because Messi's here. Simple as that. And so it's wild. It's still kind of like, oh, is this a dream kind of thing? And to piggyback on what you're saying about ticket prices, though, like, does Miami force something to happen to where they move all the rest of their home games to the Hard Rock? Because why would you only use Drive Pink Stadium, which I think is like 18,000 seats or something?
Something like that, yeah.
For the best player in the world.
Plus, it's at Fort Lauderdale. I mean, it's
Right.
hard enough to get to from
Right.
Miami proper. So, but yeah, 18,000, like you said, Tyler.
It'd have
Yeah,
to be
so-
difficult to move season ticket holders around for sure. Like that would
True.
be difficult. So I don't know. I don't know if they would be able to do something like that.
I'd be trying it though. I'd be doing everything I could to make it happen.
What's a drive from Fort Lauderdale to Miami?
Well, with traffic, I mean, I think probably 45 minutes.
Okay, so it's not terrible.
It's not awful, but it's not what it should be. I mean, right? You know, like
Right.
you go to Miami, like it's like the same thing up in New York with the Red Bulls and all that, and even the Revolution to a degree. But yeah, I think you have to figure out a way. So it's not the worst drive, and there is a big airport in Fort Lauderdale, like that's the airport, but still, like, the Hard Rock, totally different. Like you're right there. So, and it's huge.
Yeah.
I think you have to figure out a way to take advantage of it.
Yeah. So a little plug. So we always obviously need to talk about LAFC tonight, but of course LA United take on. Michael saying in the chat, Atlanta 1 hour away from Atlanta. That is definitely true. But yeah, little plug. So we're going to be talking about LAFC tonight, of course, 10 o'clock or 10:30 kickoff. But Atlanta United's next match after that, Saturday back at Mercedes-Benz against DC United. And Tyler and I had a chance to talk with Stephen Goff from the Washington Post. Covers not just DC United, but really the league and soccer as a whole. Has covered multiple World Cups for both men and women, 22 MLS Cups. So we got a chance to talk to them about Messi, and got a chance to talk to them, of course, about DC United. So we'll be posting that for our patrons within the next few hours, I think. Certainly by tomorrow morning after the match. But go to patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes, putting the URL in the chat right now. Yes. Oh, you're pointing to the URL. Okay. Yeah, patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. And we are doing something else for the patrons tonight, I believe, guys, right?
The watch along. It's the best thing that
The
we
watch
do.
along. That's
I
right.
think that's the best thing that we provide. We've had a ton of fun. This will be number 3, I think. So this will be our third watch along, and it's for any Patreon this time around. So whether you just give, what is it, $1.17? Is that what it is? $1.17, whatever tiers. We have like 5 and 10, I think.
Yep.
You can join us tonight. It's a late night. You're probably not going out to the bar. See Transit in here. Transit, come hang out. You don't have to hop on an Uber or a train. Just stay at home. Put your pajamas on, whatever you have on. Hop on Zoom, and we have some drinks and watch the game. And it's a ton of fun. We're going to do some different stuff tonight. We're going to jump on a little bit earlier, around 9:30. 9:45, we're going to do some Atlanta United trivia. We got some questions. Whoever wins the trivia is going to win a $25 MLS gift card. And then, as usual, we're going to give another $25 MLS gift card at half. So come hang out. It's a late one.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna
taking
be
a nap
fun.
after the show ends.
I know, this is it's gonna be a
so
busy
excited
night.
for this nap.
It'll be so fun though, and it really is an enjoyable time, like for sure. It's and obviously that's not the only thing we have on Patreon. We've got stickers on the way. We got merchandise on the way. Looking into potentially some scarves, but also we have interviews with other great guests. Tony Annan used to be the Atlanta United Academy director, now up at South Carolina running their soccer program. So just lots of good stuff. So definitely come join that. It's a good time.
And we were talking about trying to do some type of get together for this Miami game before.
Oh my God, we were.
We got to bring this up again.
Yes,
we were
we
talking
do.
about doing some type of get together before the Miami game because I'm in town. Little did we know that Messi's also going to be in town. Coincidence that I'm coming
Perfect timing.
and he's coming.
Hey,
You knew you were going to
Maybe.
be there.
yeah, He had to see you. Beard and all. By the
Exactly.
way, beards and spikes is a thing now. Every one of us now has a beard. This is
That's
impressive.
right. I didn't notice that until now.
Yeah.
Or did it hit me until now, I should say. Cool.
So
LAFC. That's still going on.
yeah,
I know Messi kind of stole the headlines, but
MLS's second favorite toy now.
Yeah, we talked about earlier losing to Lyon in the Champions League final. We're able to complete the comeback
They sucked.
the other night.
They sucked. That was bad. I thought they were going to do it. I thought down by 1. They had the momentum.
Yeah.
They scored a late goal in leg 1.
Yeah.
They were bad. I
Buwanga
loved it.
choked his really good opportunity to change that game entirely. And but as an Atlanta fan, as an Atlanta fan, you really wanted that game to go all the way through extra time to penalties because you wanted them dog tired today. But you still got them on very short rest. You got them on a game where they were ran into the ground, admittedly. And Steve Cherundolo has come out and said, like, there are going to be a handful of first team guys that aren't going to be there. Now,
Yeah.
you're not going to come out like they did in the Open Cup where it's their entire second team and academy players, but Atlanta has somewhat of an advantage here. So you've got to take advantage of that advantage and get yourself back some of the points that you should have won the other night in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
And the week before.
And the week
And the week before.
and that one too.
And that other week before.
And that Wednesday, somewhere in between.
And that
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah. This is your opportunity. Got to take advantage of it. But hey, they did listen to our show. Remember, well, me and Sydney were on last week, and we had this conversation. We were like, hey, if it were up to me, if I were Pineda, I'm going to LAFC. I
look
will
what they
leave
did.
Monday. Change it up a little bit for these away matches. Do something different because something is not working on these away matches. You're not bringing what you're bringing at home, not even close to it. There's a huge drop. So maybe do something different. We said, hey, go leave on Monday. Let yourself have an entire day to settle in, do some training there, have some Ted Lasso time where you watch a movie together, whatever you got to do to get it right. And then you go and you have your game on Wednesday. And they did that. So
Exactly.
win incoming.
Yeah.
You just jinxed it.
Shh. No, but yeah, go back to LASC. I mean, they're never gonna fill the starting 11 roster, preferred starting 11 roster. I mean,
Yeah.
Wanga played both matches, or started played both matches. Vela started and played both matches. Seeing who else? Ilie, he started and played both. You might see Timothy Tillman. He came as a substitute, I believe, against Lyon. I'll have to double check, but he did not start in the home leg against Lyon. So you might see him. Yeah, he did come on. Stupid Buke. You may see him. The point is, super rotated, and they are just on a super, super compressed schedule. LAFC are, so they're going to be taking that into account, and you see a lot of faces that you don't normally see in starting roles for LAFC. So that definitely benefits Atlanta United to some extent. That being said, LAFC, we talked about it last week, they have a pretty good depth. So they're going to still be kind of a challenge for Atlanta United. On Atlanta's end, I mean, they have tonight and then Saturday against DC, and then they don't play again until the international break, or for the international break. LAFC, they're going to be playing their international break. Really playing catch up, essentially. So, LA United, super rested going into this match and not having to deal with schedule congestion nearly to the extent that LAFC are having to deal with it right now. So I feel like that benefits them. We talked about it last week, they can't just go in there and lay down for LAFC. It's still a really good opponent. Atlanta have enough trouble winning away from home, as we've talked about. So I'm not going to write it down as a win, but still, I mean, you like your chances a lot better than you would under normal circumstances.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, I mean, I said this last week, it's a golden opportunity. Atlanta really, really should have won that game. There was no excuse at all. We've discussed it. It is what it is. It's in the past. You got to think a guy like Brad Guzan, who had a really tough day that day. It happens. It happens to everybody. He had a tough day. He's going to come back out and he's going to be fine, I think. I think maybe there's some other rotation a little bit, but I fully expect them to roll out Ibarra, Almada, Giacomakis. Curious about the midfield, but you got Sadic that's going. I don't think he's going to start. You've got Josedu, who I think will probably be the big shout. Sosa is back out again. The guy can't stay healthy. And then as far as the wings, I mean, you do have Wiley back. I doubt he's going to play much, if any. But it's going to be, I think, with the way both teams have been playing. Now, LA's defense is a lot better. But Atlanta can score goals this season, which is different than what we were talking about last season. I think you have the potential to go for a bit of a shootout, considering LA's so set up with fixture congestion and the roster movement and all that kind of stuff. It has the potential to be a really wild, like true MLS after dark match.
I disagree. I think this is an opportunity for Atlanta to shore up their defense. Like, you're playing a lot. You're going to be playing some second team players. We playing their defense. Was it Aaron Long that got hurt? I think Aaron Long got hurt in the game. He had to get taken out.
Yeah, with the head thing.
Yeah, Cellini's doesn't play a ton of minutes. I think this is an opportunity for this team to really focus on attacking while playing defense. Like, you got to get there, right? And you got to do it on the road, and that's what they haven't been able to do. They can't stop teams from scoring on them, even when they're up a man. So I think this is a huge opportunity for this team to really focus on doing things the right way and being responsible. I don't think it's a shootout, but I think that they win 2-0. I mean, I just started like prediction wise, but like I feel like that this is a good time to start practicing the things that they're saying that they should be doing, right? Like, they're saying that they should be stopping the goals. And I would recommend to everybody to listen to Pineda talk a few days ago at practice, talking about, Doug Robertson talked to him about, all the goals allowed. And he specifically talks about each, like, where all the goals are coming from. I think he said only one came in transition. A lot of them came on set pieces and throw-ins, and pay attention to some of that and see how they do it. But like, he's been saying that they've been practicing this for a while and it hasn't been getting better. So that's frustrating. Someone brought up, Niall brought up Brad Guzan and his press conference. Now, if you're watching one thing besides us, go watch it, because that was something. And I think that's, I don't even know if we really want to get into that, but he did not take the questions very well about what happened on that goal. And for the guy that yells at everybody else, like yells at them and screams at them on the field, even after the game, even after they win, I don't know. Like, I feel like he's the leader, and really all you need to say is, I screwed up. We lost some points. We move on. You're the captain. Take responsibility. We move. That's all I got to say, and you're done. But it didn't really go that way, and I'm interested to see how he rebounds, because I think that's, a lot of people gave Brad a lot of crap about it, and and I wasn't with you guys last week. By the way, Spider-Man, Spider-Verse was amazing. Probably best Spider-Man movie. But he was great in Orlando. Like, and people immediately forgot that he had a good game in Orlando.
Yep.
And yeah, he possibly could have stopped that first goal that he allowed in Orlando, but he kept them in the game in Orlando. Like, that was there were some nice shots by there, that he stopped in that game to keep them in it. So yeah, he had a good one, and he had a stinker. All right, what's he going to do this week?
Right.
And what's everyone else going to do to help him? I still do not want to see Parada start. I would like to see a different combination. That's what I don't know. It's there. You need to try something different. Let's try something different. I don't think we see it. I just at this point,
I don't think you do.
Something's got to happen.
At some point, though, you've got to see a Miles and Abram pairing of significant time, because you have to start looking past Miles. Miles is gone. It's just a matter of time. So you paid significant amount of money, or you're paying significant amount of money to Luis Abram. See what you got, because is the pairing going to be next year Parada and Abram? I hope not. Then you got Noah Cobb waiting on the wings, but Noah Cobb is not there yet. He's not there. Like, he's going to be good. He's going to be good. He's going to be fine in a couple of years, but he's not there yet. So I think you still have to start looking, at least in the wintertime. You have to in the wintertime for another very good center back. And then at least you got
level,
rotation. Yeah, but you got to see what you got.
But Abram's a TAM player. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, he's a TAM player, and like the chat's saying, is he good enough though? Right? Like, we don't know if he's good enough. He's played 2 games. He started 2 games, and both those games were complete just mismatches of players. The Chicago game and the Open Cup. They weren't the normal lineup that you would see. And there was Parada and Abram, I think, in the Chicago game. And then I don't remember who was starting with Abram. Was it Cobb, maybe, in the Open Cup?
Yep.
So, I mean, I know he's on the national team. Like, Emilio says he's on the national team, and he got cooked. Like, that video went around on the last call up. Like, he got cooked on a play. Whatever. Like, I don't count any of these games of what he's done so far and say this is what he's going to be for Atlanta United, because he hasn't had an honest shot to play with, like, the true starting team.
Yeah.
I feel like not a lot of people are wanting to give him a benefit of a doubt because A, he hasn't played well, I mean, in this brief time, but B, because they perceive him as a Carlos Bocanegra signing, so they aren't really ready to give him the benefit of a doubt. But let's see more of him. Let's get him out there on a more consistent run of games and see what happens, because it could be that he shakes it off, and yeah, he played 26 minutes, but it could be that he turns out to be a really good player. It just had a bad couple games. I mean, it happens. So I think that gets magnified because this Open Cup is knockout soccer. So yeah, I want to see more of him. I think it'd be great to see more of him.
Yeah, and actually, Justin read my mind apparently, but you have players on this team, DP player, who we are still waiting to finally come to fruition. And some people still want him to stay. You have another guy who's played a handful of minutes at his position, and those minutes are just, few and far between, thrown in, whatever. The Open Cup game, I can't really take much from that because everybody on the team looked pretty crappy that day, and it was such a weird, switch of all the starters and some starters and twos and everything else. There was too much going on in that game to really take much of anything from anybody, I think. But you got to give him time. If he goes out there and starts 3, 4, 5 matches as one of your main center backs and craps the bed, then I think definitely we'll have that conversation. But you got to see what you've got at some point before the end of the season for sure. I think Leagues Cup, really, really good test. I mean, he's played there. He's played in Liga MX before. He's had time there recently. but you want him to come into the second half of the season strong, because whatever he does in the second half of the season, you've got him next year. He's got to carry it over into next year too. And if he's one of your main center backs next year, him playing 26 MLS minutes is not going to show you anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he took a while to get into the lineup. They said that they weren't putting him in because, he joined late and, he hadn't had a full preseason or whatever. And, I mean, he's there. So let's get him in a little bit more. Like, my argument still was with last week's game. Why didn't you throw him in? Why didn't you take another offensive player off and bring him in? Just like, you're bad at defending in the last couple minutes. Throw every defensive piece you have out there. There's no extra time. There's no penalties. You have nothing. You have no incentive. Throw him out there and defend. That's what, if you are on the record of possibly allowing the most goals and, after stoppage time or in the last 80, after the 85th minute. Got to do something different at this point. Throw him out there. I mean, you threw Sosa in there, and he didn't do much there.
The same minute that goal was scored.
Right. Coincidence? I don't know.
I don't.
I'm not a huge Sosa,
that's
but
the thing. He's there. Put him out there. If you're gonna insist on parking the bus, whatever, quote unquote, you got another center back. Use him. I don't know. That was my biggest frustration with that game. I mean, there was a lot of frustrating parts.
Among one of the,
that was it. Yeah, it was a ton, but for sure, the way that last 5 minutes was handled by Atlanta was so disappointing. All around.
For sure. Kyle put in the chat, I'm going to be very disappointed if Wiley doesn't start tonight. You are going to be disappointed, Kyle. Just giving you a heads up right now. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but he's not going to start tonight.
Sorry,
if
Kyle.
anything, he'll come off the bench late, if that.
Yeah. I hope he does, but we'll see.
So Tommy, you said 2-0. I mean, I'm going to be the pessimist in the group. I'm going to say 2-1 LAFC. Unfortunately,
that's weird. You're never negative.
I know. I'm never negative.
Guy.
Yeah,
Never.
I just don't know. I
Shame.
feel like, LAFC's depth is going to be probably a little better than Atlanta United tonight, and I think they will win this one, unfortunately, 2-1. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I think Wiley comes in a little bit later on. I do think Gazan bounces back. I feel like he has a much better match than he did against New England for sure. But yeah, I say 2-1 LAFC, unfortunately.
Well, I counter your 2-1, and I say 2-1 to Atlanta because I don't know, because I'm positive, and I don't want to be a pessimist, and I just want to have hope that my team is going to get back to winning away from home, and maybe the vacation out to the West Coast is what they needed.
Yeah,
It's going to be 3-3. It's going to be 3-3 again.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
I can see it.
All of our watch-alongs, every two of them so far, have ended with Atlanta conceding a late goal to then it be a draw instead of a win like it should have been. So it's either going to be like some exorbitantly stupid shootout, or it's going to be like a 0-0 draw or something dumb.
It's a disappointment if it's something like that. Like if it was 0-0, like that's a huge disappointment for Atlanta. I understand the stats of like flying across the country. Like I know they bring it up every time in the NFL when a team travels from the East Coast to the West Coast. Like it's a ridiculously bad number. But like you're playing a team that just played an exhausting game where you were trying to win. You have to take advantage of this. You absolutely have to. And this would just be another thing that you remember at the end of the year when we're questioning, is Pineda out in the offseason? And I feel like this would be a game that if they don't win it, I mean, we have to see the starting lineup. They could just be totally BSing and start a lot of these players. I don't think it's going to happen. But if what happens, what we think is going to happen, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to win this game. You're reasonably healthy. Sosa, Ibarra is the better option to begin with, and then your Wiley, I understand, is not going to be starting, but that's fine. You still have Aruju, and Ozzy Alonso comes back next week. And that's a big thing there. He played. I watched a little bit of the twos, which, by the way, it is so hard. I thought watching the twos was going to be an easy thing. Just go, you say Apple, turn on the twos. No, there's some days it's on there. There's some days it's on YouTube, and then there's some days you got to go to the damn website to watch it. What is this? The 90s?
No, this is last year.
I'm like sitting there. I had my second TV on, and I'm like, I'll turn on this. I couldn't figure it out because it was on the stupid website.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, yeah. So
no, it wasn't on YouTube. I couldn't find it on YouTube the other day.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, I was watching it on YouTube.
Well, ignore my rant. Then never mind. I'm out. I couldn't. I maybe I looked too early. Was it delayed?
No, it was delayed because of the weather. So that's probably what happened. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
But yeah, we haven't talked about that, and we're kind of talking about LAFC, but kind of pivoting off that, I think we were going to talk too about, just real quick, I think Alonso coming in around the 60th minute. Atlanta were playing into Miami and just played him off the pitch. Nick Firmino, by the way, got a brace, so another strong performance for him. Yeah, so
they should have won their first match against them because they started off so strong in that match and they came back and completely blew it.
That doesn't sound like us.
No, not at all. But this one, you get off to a pretty early start, 1-0, and then Miami gets a red card, and then it's what you should do when the other team is down a man. They ate them alive, and Ozzy Alonso came in, and I thought he looked good. Like it's hard to take a lot, but he did, and this is really cool. He provided I don't think it's going to count as a secondary assist, but he played in the ball, beautiful ball, by the way, to Rocket Rita, who is one of the young players coming up through the academy, and I love his name. I hope he stays with Atlanta so that one day the Bens can create a margarita named after him after he turns 21. But with that being said, he provided the assist, and I think it was the last goal of the match. But Ozzy just brings something that you need. He brings a bit of a general mentality. And is he going to be the most athletic guy out there? Nope. Not even kind of. But he's going to come out, and he's going to handle business. Ibarra can learn so much from him and will learn so much from him. And I would argue has learned so much from him. Ibarra, to kind of tie all of it together, he won 10 duels against New England Revolution. That is the 6th time this season that he has won 10-plus duels in a match. No other Atlanta United player has won or has more than 2 games with 10-plus duels won. So your defensive midfielder, your Ibarra, your Ozzy Alonso, there's a lot there that you can get. Now, Sosa, I don't know what's going on with that guy. I really don't. I wish he was doing so much better. I wish he was in a better run of form, and I wish he wouldn't get injured all the time. But right now, Ibarra is clearly your better option anyway. If you can have Ozzy start coming on next week and the week after as, like Tommy likes to call him, a closer, that's going to help out a lot of these defensive issues that have been happening late in the match. That's going to be one of your big things. It's going to make a huge difference because he is going to be losing his mind at players who are not marking some of these guys, making runs into the box, doing this, that, and the other. He's going to be the one that's going to help out in that regard. So that is what I'm really excited for. I'm not expecting Ozzy Alonso to come back and just flip the whole league on its head. Yeah. But he can shore up a lot of these stupid goals that have been going in.
If he plays 15, 20 minutes a game, 15, and have him be one of your last subs that comes in, especially when you're down, or I'm sorry, especially when you're up. Cool. Nothing else is working that's currently on this roster.
Yeah.
That is stopping them. And I'm sorry, Sosa's got to go this window. I think you've got to make that move. at this point. I don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe you don't have to do anything depending on what happens with Almada, but I think that this is just the time for him to go. So you hope he's healthy, and that this is a short-term thing, and then you'll be able to move on from him because it's just not working at that position. And even if you do decide to fill the U22 spot at some point, I think that you maybe bring in a winger, bring in someone younger and do that. I don't know. Mascara's not even playing at all.
Yeah. His time dropped off
about
significantly, and now he's not even making the team sheet.
Yeah.
Man, Atlanta United loans
have not panned out.
No, it doesn't. When does the rest of the world just learn? If Atlanta United calls and says, "Hey, want to take this player on loan?" You say no.
Well,
if they ask you if you're a god, you say yes. If they ask you if Atlanta United wants a loan, you say no.
Are we missing anything? I mean, we talked about the match. We talked about Messi, of course. We talked about the twos. What else?
I think that's it. I mean, a quick stats. Atlanta's still the leader in set piece goals at 12. They're just in front of St. Louis at 11. They have the 8th most touches in the opponent's box. Thiago Almada killing it with chances created from open play, 37. He's number 1 in the league. But, I mean, none of that matters if you don't go win games. So,
yep.
That's where it's going to be. It's got to start translating because you can dominate teams all day. This is a narrative from last year. You dominate them all day, but you got to win.
Score.
Yeah, you didn't score last year. Yeah. Now you're scoring, but you're letting everybody else score on you too. So
yeah,
you got to shore that up because if Atlanta had given up one less goal a match going back to the beginning of the season, they would probably, and I don't know the math, but I'm pretty confident they would be sitting on the Supporters' Shield right now.
Yeah.
Or at least close to it with Cincy.
Yeah. And now all that's left to do, I mean, you can't chase the past. All you can do is chase the future and make changes for the future. And hopefully that starts tonight against LAFC at 10:30 or 10:38, to be precise.
And then we're going to be halfway. We're at the halfway mark of the regular season, which is crazy. Doesn't feel like it should be that, but we're here. The pain makes time go faster.
Yeah, we're recording.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we're recording, for patrons, a halfway point show, or mid-season review. Halfway point show. Mid-season review of Atlanta United thus far. Going to go up on the Patreon page at some point this week. So we have some thoughts on what we're going to talk about, getting that together, but we will definitely get to recording that very soon. Hopefully before the DC United match. So patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. Look for that soon, I guess. Tyler said merch coming soon, stickers, all that good stuff. And then again, the interview with Stephen Goff from the Washington Post will be coming out as well for patrons only. So yeah, subscribe now, patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes.
Pay $1.17 and just hang out with us tonight. Even if you're coming in for the first half, just come hang out, grab a glass of milk, grab a drink, grab some water, and just hang out.
Prepare your shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of whatever drink you want. It's got to be like a low-fat or vegan drink, maybe, since they're going to LA. All the themed stuff has to be from that city, right? We did Toronto, and we did Patine. Some people did that and had the Crown and Cokes, and then that was a terrible night afterwards. And then our most recent one. What was our most recent one?
Chicago, the deep dish pizza.
Oh yeah, the hot dogs.
No, hot dogs. I ordered Chinese food.
Yeah, dude, and it looks so good.
Bo talked about Chinese food, and I was like, you know what? I Uber. Actually, that's probably a good idea. I'm gonna order some food, go to sleep for an hour, and then wake up and the food gets delivered.
That's a good bet. Then you'll be rested for the watch along party tonight.
This is the complete opposite of what I did Saturday. I made the mistake of going out and watching the Man U game. And I was running late, and I'm walking in, and it's 10:01, and I just hear screaming. I'm like, everybody's pumped. It's a Man U supporters bar, so there's probably about maybe like 7 Man City fans. I walk in there, everybody's screaming, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh my God, this is the Atlanta United game. Did Guzan pass it right to City?
Yep. Oh, wild. I was like, oh my God, they really got that Atlanta United curse. Holy crap.
So now I'm the opposite. I'm staying up until, this feels like me staying up and watching hockey until, 12:30, 1 a.m.
It has all the makings of a fun night. Y'all just got to be there. So come on. It'll be interesting.
$17
at minimum. And yeah, you could potentially win some gift cards.
Hey, balances out. I think that's it. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. It's a short one because, Lenny and I have a match and we want to get ready for the watch party at 9:30. But yeah, if you're a patron, please join us. If not, the link is in the chat. Join us, subscribe tonight and join us and get in on that. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to the match and hopefully it's a win for Atlanta United.
I like it. Let's roll.
Nap time. Let's get a nap in before this.
Dinner.
Exactly.
Drink ready.
Yeah, no question.
Let's ride.
Absolutely. Hey, for Tyler and Tommy, I'm Sydney. Thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.
Don't blow a lead. Not again.
I don't want to be a part of that.
Clean your houses if they get too messy, by the way. Or your cars, or your desks. I borrowed your joke.